retractable hardtop.
Barren and frozen 20 years ago. Eerie ore boats slip in low and embarrassed, ride out high as if trying to get out of the cold, dirty water. 100 miles to the south, a red brick house full of pain in the middle of a cornfield, rough, dry rows waiting to be picked clean. Retractable hardtop board parked in the side yard. It opens up and down like a Nike silo. But I don't feel safe. No! Oh, Lord, I don't feel safe. I feel embarrassed as I wait for my father. Playing the radio all the time.
Wishing for normal adolescence.
American bandstand girls and buddies
to teach me about sex. Whoa, whoa.
Dad bought this classic for me. Seat wells rusted through to the tailpipe below. Quarter panels gone. Engine seized but the top works up and down like a Nike silo. Waiting for him to pick me up for the trip to the airport to work together, and his discourse on authenticity and quality, corrupted power, and the communist conspiracy. Up and down like a Nike silo.
Silo, up and down. Silo.
Big flat panel of eerie steel trunk lid winds up to reveal the thicker top panel at rest in its box. It flexes up and out as the front tip rotates from underneath. And the straightened assembly reaches forward, yearning to touch the chromed windshield frame where two corkscrews mate with two metal vaginas. And I don't know what a vagina is. I sit there in the driver's seat. But am I driving my own life? I thought I was. Or at least I thought I was supposed to. Or are my parents, their elected officials, and the local draft board doing that? I had a sense that I wouldn't make it. I had a sense of being alone when I shouldn't be alone. Pulls up the driveway. I get into the drive to the airport. His anxious, angry, earnest, and determined monologue begins. I listen for hope, for some visible faith. For 30 minutes, we move over rivers, through small woods, over the highway, and across the flat land near the airport. He sings his quality blues. But he also sings his own stuckness, his own desperateness. He tilts against what men are just supposed to acquiesce to. He does honest things that piss people off to keep his soul alive. He is judged a gross man. He's unable to give in. But will he give up? Something in his willingness, something in his felt pain, something in the irony he kept pointing out. But would he ever get somewhere with all of this? Would I? He had to make it, or where was I? He had to keep believing in his own vision. He had to learn to surrender without giving up. He had to tilt with the windmills that I shared with him, or I would be completely alone when I wasn't supposed to be alone. Or I would be naked in a world of armored people. Or I would be faithless in a world of faithless people. Or I would have nothing other than my inner alternative world. But as he tilted, I was embarrassed. I wanted more than anything to be normal. What he gave me instead was his ongoing struggle, his pain, his not not giving up, his vision of the possible. We worked on that old Ford for about 2 years. Got the engine done and some of the body work. Then my marriage, my child, and my moving 2,500 miles away. We had to grow back the rusted parts at a distance. Even at that distance, I found myself sitting in that car, watching the metal vagina receive its phallus, waiting with dry throat for him to pull in the drive, wondering what his fury would demand of me this evening. I knew then that the 58 Retractable Hardtop was a gift he tried to give me, a true surrender, trying to reach out without words to keep me near, trying to tell me he wasn't giving up.
"20 years that old Ford rested unfinished while we worked on our lives, not giving up. It sat in the garage, filled up with parts and possibilities while we labored 2,500 miles distant from one another, but as near as the garage and the memory of a gift. Unfinished business being sanded, polished, and painted, protecting the eerie steel from further cancer, protecting my son from some of the pain, but none of the possibility.
Us kids didn't let Dad forget. They told us to say what we felt. Over decades, his willingness listened. He kept his passion, but his hate and fear faded. We are all able to see his healing now, the magical healing of 40-year husbands and wives, magical healing that makes healed sons and daughters possible, the magical healing that took years and years of not dying. How he managed to persevere. How Mom was able to tolerate her terrible pain. How we kids managed to wait in angry, faithful hope. How life managed to put off tragedy for us. I don't know. Dad called today to tell me that he blew up the tires. They took air after all these years. And moved the retractable hardtop out with all its parts because he was giving it to a friend. Someone about my age. At first I was angry, even though I'd asked him to sell it. Then I was worried that it might mean a giving up, but I realized the deepest feeling was completion. Dad kept it until he felt like he was done. He had work to do and don't get in the way, damn it. He was determined to be finished before he said he was finished. He was determined to be a good father. Fish live in Lake Erie again, and we never gave up. My son goes off to work with passion and hope. Perhaps he will remember my dad as one who didn't give up. Perhaps someone will read this and wish to have a dad like mine. As I sit in that old Ford in my head and run the top up and down, it's finished, and it's a real beauty. I'm done being embarrassed, and I'm now full of pride. That's it. That's what we're doing. Thanks for dropping by.